separate but doesn't know it's separate. And then it develops into an individual, it becomes more and more separate until it leaves the home and goes off on its own. Everything, consciousness develops through separateness. When a child is first born, they have very simple concepts, intuitive ones. But as they learn language, we start dividing the whole world up. It gets bigger. My little girl, her world was just her bedroom, our house, and Grand's place, and a funny journey in between the two. That was it. Now it's getting bigger, and there's schools, and my boy knows about America, and the world's expanding, and he's hearing about trillions of stars, and it's all concepts, everything. Look, my world now has microphone in it, and Ganesh, and books, and floor, and you, and me, and words, and it's huge and separate. And all of that separateness, and the way that we've done that with nature, of going, not only are we separate from nature, but we can reproduce nature, and how can we make nature make sound louder, or fly? Or, do you know what I mean? All of which has been dividing us off. So separateness, this is a key thought for me. Separateness, consciousness is separateness. What allows us to be conscious is that we are separate. Everything we are conscious of it because we separate it off from everything else. And we've done that with nature. Just being separate is hell, though. So if we can become separate, so we're conscious, and then come back to the place where we're all one, consciously, then we can reconnect with nature. Now, and I think that's what's happening to us now. We've done all these amazing things, and then we're suddenly going, oh, fuck. We've created this great world, potentially, and yet there's something terribly, terribly wrong, because we think we're separate from it, from nature, or from each other, or from the whole of life. So the lucid living for me is saying, right now, we haven't made a mistake. We've needed to make this journey. It's just we need to reconnect with where it started, but consciously. And in a child, it's the same thing. That thing which I become conscious of, when I say I do this, was there when I was a baby. Which is why when you look into the eyes of a baby, you see, but you can do the same. If you look into somebody's eyes who's in love, you see the same thing. That big, oceanic, blissful isness. The thing with a baby is they don't know it's there. You go through the journey of separateness. Have you seen it with kids? I see it with my kids all the time. They start in this magic place and then they lose it steadily to come into the separateness. But if the journey keeps going, they come out of the separateness, hopefully. And I look at my mum, who's at 80, and she's made the journey, completely naturally, without reading a bloody book in the world. She just made the journey into that big love. And she's of service, and she's loving, and she's just there, and you look in her eyes, and she's a little girl. Right present, but she's also an experienced 80-year-old woman who can look after people and look after the kids and do all this stuff. She's not, because when you're just a baby, you can't do anything. So what I'm trying to say is I think individually we make that journey, and collectively we're making that journey, and cosmologically we're making that journey. It's the same journey, from oneness into separateness, so that we can come to conscious oneness, which is both at the same time. And when we do that, then we'll stop harming it. We want to relate to the nature of things. It's that whole feminine quality comes back in. And then we've got both. We've got everything. We've got the yin and the yang coming together, rather than being just separated off. Does that make any sense?
I think so. I think what you're saying, if